The world of the Forgotten Realms is chock full of epic dragons with a plethora of history. We have done quite a good job at covering many of these legendary beasts in the past couple of months, but the job is never done. Today we're going to delve deep into the cavernous depths of the planet, traveling through the labyrinthine caverns of the Underdark and into one of the most fabled cities in the world. Today we're going to talk about Themberchaud, also known as the Wormsmith, a dragon that has become quite popular as of late, though perhaps not popular because of its might, intelligence, or achievements. Instead, let's just say because of its prodigious size. This is going to be a really fun one, but before we get into it, this video is brought to you by Curious Beginnings, a lit RPG adventure. It's actually a bit unbelievable just how many fans of Dungeons & Dragons don't know about lit RPGs and what they are. A lit RPG, or literature RPG, is a fictional fantasy novel where the world in which the characters live in have RPG mechanics. As in, the characters of the story level up, they have stats, they spend their level up points to invest in skills, and of course, gain experience when they accomplish great tasks or defeat enemies. In other words, it is just like Dungeons & Dragons if the characters themselves were aware of the RPG mechanics that they live under, though to them, the world is not just a game, but very much real. Salvos, a Curious Beginnings, details the birth of a demon, as it is forced to survive in a world filled with other demons. It details the slow evolution process of just how demons level up, how they gain their abilities, and of course, how they all race to the top without dying in the process. The RPG novel is extraordinarily well rated. It's only $5 with over 400 pages of awesome content, but the coolest thing that I like about it is that it was so popular that they even made an entire webcomic out of the whole story. And the webcomic is actually amazing. It's so addictive that my entire Saturday was spent just endlessly scrolling through it. The art is absolutely gorgeous. Whether you're looking for DM inspiration on really cool stories, abilities, spells, or items, or you're a player searching for cool characters to play, or you want to read an awesome D&D-like story, getting into RPG novels is the way to go. Guys, check out Salvos Curious Beginnings. The link is in the video description. I am just absolutely in love with this, and I know that you guys will love it too. Thank you guys all so much for the support, and now, on to the video. Many of the legendary stories that we find in Dungeons & Dragons when they are set in the Forgotten Realms are found on the North. Whether we're talking novels, adventures, video games, or even movies, the north of the Sword Coast in particular is the bedrock foundation of Dungeons & Dragons. But what you might not know is that that is also the case underground. The Underdark, as we call the endless cavernous passages under the world, also are separated into multiple regions, with the region that layers exactly underneath the Sword Coast North being also the most famous and of course the most explored section. Nestled on the shores of the massive subterranean sea called the Dark Lake, there is the capital of the Duergar, the greatest city of the Deep Dwarves called Gracklstugh, also known as the City of Blades. Built 4,000 years ago, Gracklstugh has been the seat of power for the Deep Kingdom, the Empire of the Duergar. Now, the city itself holds a population of roughly 26,000 people, out of which 22,000 are Duergar, 2,000 are Darrow, 500 are Dorsigon, which are basically like Duergar tieflings, 500 are Orogs, and 250 are Stone Giants. Now, this of course holds no candle to, say, the city of Waterdeep, which holds a population of about 130,000 people, but it should also be mentioned that Gracklstugh is just the seat of power of the Deep Kingdom, and the vast majority of the Duergar population actually resides outside of the capital itself. In fact, we're actually told that the true population of the Deep Kingdom, which takes into account all of the different cities that surround Gracklstugh and all of the mushroom farms, all of the settlements and all of the outposts, they number to around 90,000 Duergar and about 60,000 slaves, with most of the slaves being goblins, shortly followed by shield dwarves and orcs. Now, Gracklstugh is known as the City of Blades because it is the focal point for blacksmithing in the entirety of the Underdark. If anyone needs a strong blade and a durable set of armor, they basically go to Gracklstugh. It is said that the furnaces of the City of Blades never stop working, and that the ceiling of the cavern in which the city is built is constantly fuming with black smoke. And you can't go anywhere on this city without hearing the endless sound of hard work and toil. Now, why is any of this important? Well, it is important because the one who actually keeps these furnaces alight is none other than Themberchaud. Themberchaud is an adult red dragon, and not particularly strong by any measure, at least, not compared to many of the other dragons that we have covered on this series, but he is extremely well known for he is the Wormsmith, the dragon in charge of making sure that the City of Blades continues to toil. See, the heat required in order to produce the kinds of weapons that dwarves want to craft is fairly difficult to obtain, and you can't just burn some wood and create the heat necessary for proper blacksmithing. See, lava, of course, can be very useful, but it's also very unreliable and very hard to work with. Plus, even lava can sometimes fail to reach the temperatures needed to smelt some of the more powerful ores that is required. Dragon's fire, on the other hand, is one of the most powerful heating elements in the entirety of the world, and of course, provided that you have a dragon that is willing to produce it for you, it can be very reliable and can be used anywhere you like. To put it into perspective, lava deals 55 points of damage on average if it touches you or passes by you, whereas an adult dragon's fire breath deals an average of 63 points of fire damage. Now, both deal a similar amount, of course, with the dragon's fire dealing a bit more, but keep in mind that when you're smelting ore or when you're heating up a blade, whatever the case might be, you likely do not want to bathe the weapon or the ore in lava because, of course, you're gonna risk it heating it too much and ruining the process. But then you also have the issue that simply putting the weapon or the ore close to the lava is not actually going to produce enough heat. You need the lava to literally touch the object for the heat to set in, hence the problem. Basically, with lava, generally speaking, you only take the fire damage if you're bathing in it or touching it, not if you're close. Dragon's fire does not have that problem. You can easily cook something to the right temperature, with of course the dragon tempering the heat to the desired outcome. Now, of course, different dwarves will seek different solutions to this problem, with most famously the dwarves of Gondelgrum binding a powerful fire primordial into their furnaces, but alas, the deep dwarves of Gracklstugh have chosen to bid for the help of red dragons, and throughout the thousands of years that they have been down here, they have sought the help of dragon after dragon. Now, Themberchaud has been lighting these furnaces for basically all of its life, and in exchange, the City of Blades has been giving him copious amounts of treasure for his hoard. All the slaves that he could want, some amount of political influence as well, and then lots and lots of food. Without needing to go out and hunt or fight other dragons, with his life being mostly sedentary, and with all of the extreme amount of food that the Duergar have been feeding him whenever he desires it, Themberchaud has gotten a little bit obese, to the point that his wings no longer fully carry him aloft, and instead he can do no better than to jump rather than fly. Now, it is of course very dangerous for the Duergar to keep a red dragon in the city. Red dragons are naturally selfish, they're power hungry, and they of course chafe under any form of authority, which is why Themberchaud is given so much in recompense for its duties. His hoard consists of 3,000 platinum pieces, 20,000 gold pieces, 45,000 silver pieces, 150,000 copper pieces, 6 fire opals worth 1,000 gold pieces each, 10 peridots worth 500 gold pieces each, 30 garnets worth 100 gold pieces, a gourd containing an oil of sharpness, a potion of flying, a potion of longevity, and a potion of supreme healing. It's actually a crazy good hoard for what is essentially only an adult red dragon. But that is not even enough. Again, red dragons are very difficult to control, and even with this level of pampering, it is only a matter of time until Themberchaud, or really any dragon in his position, would start wondering, why should I be satisfied with tributes when I could have it all and control the city instead. And of course, Themberchaud and every single dragon before him has thought like this. And the thing is, Themberchaud is not the first, and certainly will not be the last to think this way. Themberchaud is pampered by an organization within the City of Blades called the Keepers of the Flame. They are basically the clan that is in charge of making sure that the dragon does what he is supposed to do and that no problem arises from the dragon. What they have been doing this whole time is using psionics to actually calm and appease the dragon, just like they have for every single dragon before Themberchaud. The exact nature of the power that they're using is a bit unclear, but they effectively strive to make Themberchaud docile in such a way that basically prevents him from getting any strong ideas about potentially taking over the city. Now, that can only help so much. As we all know, the older a dragon gets, the more powerful they become. And regardless of how much appeasement you do, or how much psionics you use, every dragon is just frankly going to eventually grow too big and become too powerful. Powerful enough to threaten the entire city, which is when you kill the dragon. Themberchaud doesn't know this, of course, but every single dragon before him that grew too old was slayed before it became a problem, just how Themberchaud will soon enough. Or rather, that's what would have happened, but something actually went horribly wrong. See, the Duergar had a red dragon egg that they had been nurturing, who was supposed to be the replacement for Themberchaud, but alas, the egg was stolen by a renegade group of Duergar called the Grey Ghosts. Basically, they are the Thieves Guild of the city, and without the egg, they cannot replace Themberchaud, and because they ultimately need a dragon to light the furnaces, or else the entire economy of the kingdom grinds to a halt and chaos ensues, they have to keep Themberchaud alive and spoiled, even though he is becoming resistant to the psionic meddling of the Keepers of the Flame, and slowly but surely, Themberchaud is realizing that he could take so much more than being happy with what he is given. Now, in terms of what actually happens with Themberchaud in the lore, it is a bit unclear. So, we know that Themberchaud knows that the Keepers of the Flame are hiding something from him. He suspects that there is a lot that they're not telling him, to the point where he's even trying to gather mercenaries and attempting to speak with them in private in order to demand their allegiance to find out what is it that is being kept from him. And of course, if Themberchaud were to figure out that the Duergar are planning to inevitably slay him, you can imagine all of the chaos that would come from that. But what happens directly after is actually unclear. Basically, these are the events as they appear in 5th edition, just as I have described them. We know, however, that after 5th edition, Themberchaud eventually leaves Gracklstugh, most likely because he probably figured out that they were gonna kill him, but that's just a guess. In the Dungeons & Dragons movie, we actually get to see Themberchaud, which is why we know that he made it out alive from the City of Blades, and seemingly has now, foolishly I should say, made a new lair in Dolblund. I say foolishly because Dolblund is also the lair of another dragon, one who is literally the most powerful creature in the entirety of the Forgotten Realms, a Dracolich named Dorgothoth. Now, if you don't know, Dolblund was an old gnomish city that was destroyed in an ancient war with mind flayers and orcs. And now it's just basically a destroyed ruin where all manner of untold, deathly perils await. Whatever Themberchaud is doing here is unclear. Perhaps he has made a pact with Dorgothoth, or perhaps he doesn't even know that Dorgothoth is there. He could just be, I guess, passing by, perhaps. But alas, kind of a sad story, I think, ultimately. Themberchaud being a dragon who had it all the slaves he could desire, a hoard of treasure to make any dragon mad with jealousy, political power in one of the most legendary cities of the world, and all the rich food that you could ever want. And now, he is a dragon on the run, without a suitable lair, with a body that is a little bit too fat for it to even fly. A future perhaps not looking too bright for Themberchaud. But whatever will happen to him, we will have to wait and see, because that is all the information we have. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to check out Salvos Curious Beginnings, and if you can, go and also check out that webcomic. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into the video description as well, because I've been having just so much fun with it. Also, do make sure to check out my PDF store at mrrex.store. It is by far the best way to support the channel, and if you like these sort of videos, then yeah, it helps you contribute to helping me just do more of this. I am so close to having Monster Classes 4 be done. I just need some more proofreading on it, and I will have it in the store in no time. But anyways, I just started playing my very own Animal Familiar monster class that I designed on my Saturday games where I am a player, and I gotta tell you guys, it's just so much fun. On Monster Classes 3, one of my 3 monster classes is the Familiar class, where you literally get to play as a familiar. They are a purely supportive class where you can bond with other player characters in order to empower them and grant them tons of buffs and support. You can heal with them, you can help prevent damage, and you can increase the damage that they do by a ton. And you got the Pseudo Dragon, you got the Pixie, and the Animal Familiar as subclasses. Super highly recommend you guys check it out. Like I said, I'm currently playing as an Animal Familiar right now, as a wizard cat actually, and I haven't had this much fun in so long. mrrex.store, guys. Any support there helps me out tremendously. Now, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.